In my last video, I talked about some of the weird things that you experience in Barbados. And I don't want to spoil the video for you. If you haven't watched it, you can go and watch it before you watch this one, or you can watch this one and then watch that one. But to summarize what I talked about in that video, I boiled it down to the effects of having a country that is as educated as Barbados is educated. Barbados has a 99.9% literacy rate. I'm going to say this as often as it matters to the video that I'm talking about, and even by some estimates that number is 100% literacy rate. What that means is that most, if not every single human being you're going to encounter that is of a certain age in Barbados can read and write, make full sentences, understand what they're reading, they have good comprehension skills, and so on and so forth. Practically everybody you meet in Barbados is going to be like that. And I made the assumption, is it an assumption? I guessed, right? Let's just call it what it is. I made the guess and the claim that I think that this literacy rate has something to do with the leadership system in Barbados and why Barbados seems to keep making progress every single year. Now, I don't know what to call this, but if I'm going to give it a name, I will call it a meritocratic democracy. Now, a meritocratic democracy is like the mixture between a meritocracy and a democracy. A meritocracy is the system where power, rewards, all of this stuff, they are based on individual talent, effort, and achievement, and they are not based on social status, wealth, or connections. So people who are in power, people who gain benefits, people who advance in society, they do so because they are exhibiting certain talents, or whether they are putting in certain amount of effort, or they are gaining certain achievements. And this is in my opinion, this is a very good thing to have in a country, because if there are certain people who are putting in all the effort and they are doing all the achievements and they're showing all the talent and they're putting in the work and all of that, and their rewards, their efforts aren't rewarded, they are not put in positions of power, they don't have influence over the country or over different aspects in the country, then these people are not able to contribute directly to the growth of the country. Many times these people also feel undervalued and they have to leave the country, right? Now, generally speaking, there are always going to be people who feel this way. People who feel like their efforts are not being, recognized, and they don't have many opportunities in the country. And those people are going to leave the island. They're going to go to other places where there's more opportunity. And this is going to happen to an extent in every single country on earth. There is no country that has, at least to the best of my knowledge, 0% emigration. Right? It doesn't exist. People will always leave a country. People will always move into a country. That's just how the world works. But if your country is in such a dire state that most of your citizens feel like they need to leave the country, then you're doing something terribly wrong. Okay, your country is doing something excruciatingly painful to these citizens, and they feel like they need to go. Barbados is not like that. Barbados is actually in a state where people are always trying to put in their effort into growing the country. I have met many people in Barbados who are over the age of 35, 45, who have never left the island or never plan to leave the island for any reason. In fact, there are people who travel out of the island and go for their education, schooling, business, whatever the case, and they still come back to the island to put in the work in the island to help the island grow, to come back and meet family and whatever. You don't have that kind of behavior when you have a country that is actively trying to mess with you, to end your life, to take all your resources, right? People don't come back after leaving a country if they feel like that country is a failed state, if they feel like that country is done for. And in the case of Barbados, you don't see a lot of people getting ahead in life simply because of their connections. Like, I know somebody in this place and I know somebody in that place. And because of that, I feel like I don't have to put in the work. I don't have to be exceptional. I don't have to do anything. I'll just get whatever I want whenever I want because of my connections, right? Because I know this person, because of my social status, because of the wealth of my family background or whatever. You don't see that kind of mentality in Barbados because, for a large part, I believe that Barbados has a meritocratic mindset. People have to merit certain things, usually, before they get those things. But Barbados is also a democracy, right? And it is one of the backbone, the strongest pillar in this country. In fact, the 3 points on the trident on the Barbados flag actually represents the 3 principles of democracy: government of the people, government for the people, and government by the people. In my previous video, I talked about how this government for the people mindset, where the people in government and in leadership actually want what is best for the country and actually think about what is best for the country, that is part of what helps push the country forward. So how do you reconcile a country that is both meritocratic and democratic? And my genius mind came up with this phrase: meritocratic democracy. And then I thought I was the inventor of this phrase until I Googled it, and I found out that it's actually a normal phrase that people use to try to describe systems like Barbados, right? Meritocratic democracy is a hybrid political theory that combines democratic elections with meritocratic screening to improve the quality of political leaders. Okay? So unlike in many countries in the world where somebody just wants to rule, the person starts campaigning, the person gathers a bunch of people and does whatever he likes and just pushes himself so much that eventually everybody votes him, or they find a way to rig the election or whatever. In countries where they have this meritocratic democracy mindset, you find that before a person reaches the point where he can even start campaigning to be a leader of a significant part of society, that person has gone through a lot of stages of development. That person has, quote unquote, been screened by society. And this is not something that happens where there's a particular office that you go to and you get screened. No, this is something that everybody in the country is doing every single day by their intelligent conversations, by their participation in rallies, and they're attending all these meetings and talking to people about their political stance and their ideologies and all of these things. You see that on a daily, ongoing basis, people are thinking critically about leadership, about government, about what the kind of person who is going to lead this country or this constituency at the very least, what qualities should this person have? What kind of person should this person be? And the more they do that, the more you find out that the people who finally make it to the point where they are getting national votes, those people are significantly above average, significantly more equipped than the average citizen to do the job that they're expected to do. And this is one thing I love about this mindset and this system. And initially, I was planning that I was going to go through the list of the people who are currently in leadership positions in Barbados and break it down for you why I think this is the case and how it applies. But this video is going to be so much longer than I planned. So I'm just going to point out some key people in power right now, in the government right now, and show you how this applies to them. And then you tell me, you make up your own mind. You decide whether you believe that this is the case, or maybe there's something at play. I mean, after all, the point is for us to learn together, to understand Barbados. That is why I started this channel, because I was seeing so many things and I wanted to discuss it with other people, and here we have it. So let me know. The first person we are going to be talking about is the president himself, right? President Lieutenant Colonel Jeffrey Davidson Bostick. Bostick or Bostick? I don't know. I'm just reading the name. I've never heard it pronounced, so it's probably Bostick. It could be Bostick. Anyway, this man is a retired lieutenant colonel. He's currently the president of Barbados as at the making of this video. This man is a retired lieutenant colonel. I think it's also pronounced lieutenant colonel. I don't know. But let's continue. He was elected in 2025 after being jointly nominated by both the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. So he was jointly nominated by both Prime Minister Motley and opposition leader Ralph Thorne. There were no objections in the joint sitting. First of all, let me tell you how significant just this part is. In the history of almost every single country on this planet Earth, there has never been a case, never, where two different parties jointly nominated the same individual for presidency and that individual went on to win. The two biggest parties in Barbados nominated the same individual with zero objections. I want you to point out one other this might have happened somewhere else that I don't know about, but I do not know any place in the world where, think about America, for example, the Democratic Party and the Republican Party both nominated the same individual to become president. That individual has to be spectacular. That individual has to be impressive. And obviously, you need a society that can recognize that if somebody is good enough for the job and we believe that he's that good for the job, then we should put aside our differences. We should put aside our cronyism and trying to put our friends and family members into positions of power. We should put aside all of that and we should focus on the good of the country, and we should put someone who we both believe is the best for the job. That is what that move highlighted. So I wanted to see what his accomplishments were. I mean, he's had a military career service, obviously. He's had national honors and all of that. But I wanted to take a deeper look at it, right? This man served as an equerry to Queen Elizabeth II during her last visit to Barbados in 1989, and as an aide-de-camp to Governor General Sir Hugh Springer. He retired in 2006 as commanding officer of the Barbados Regiment and Director of Operations at the Regional Security System, RSS, after over 30 years of service. He has a Bachelor's of Arts from the University of West Indies and a postgraduate diploma in the Inter-American Defense College in Hemispheric Security. So this man, while he was doing his military career, was also advancing academically. Then he served as Member of Parliament for the city of Bridgetown from 2013 to 2022 and as Minister of Health and Wellness from 2018 to 2022. During the pandemic, this is when he became more well known as the public face of Barbados' COVID-19 response, winning respect for his steady, no-nonsense military-style leadership and his defiant mantra, no retreat, no surrender. This man, I've talked about Barbados' response during the COVID-19 in some of my videos. I've talked about how even while so many countries were in they suffered seriously because of COVID-19, Barbados was able to use that period as a period to make a lot of pivots. Like, they made so many tough decisions that kept the country moving forward, that reduced the number of cases compared to neighbors and even the global standard. Barbados was one of the countries that was most talked about because of its response during COVID-19. Then, during this research for this video, I found out that the current president was actually behind that, as the news described, no-nonsense military-style leadership that made the COVID-19 response in Barbados to be so remarkable. It was this same man, right? And then after that incident, he published a memoir called No Retreat, No Surrender, the COVID-19 Experience of a Small Island Developing State. And this was to document the national effort. Amazing. So, he also has the highest national honor, which is the Order of Freedom of Barbados in 2022. And this was given to him for his pandemic leadership, described as for outstanding and extraordinary achievement and merit in service to Barbados and humanity at large. He was also appointed, and this was royal recognition in 1989, right? He was also appointed as member of the Royal Victorian Order in 1989 for his personal service as equerry to Queen Elizabeth II. Now, if we come to his present election as president, I already told you he received a rare unanimous endorsement from both the ruling and the opposition parties. Both of them. It's very interesting to read. And this is what I'm talking about. When you read this man's, what do you call this? A biography, a list of achievements, whatever. When you read about this man, you don't see someone who was picked by his friend and put in a position of power, and then he just knew somebody, and before you know, he was doing what they say he's doing. No, that's not what you see. That's not what you see when you read about this man. You see someone who defiantly pressed forward at every opportunity he got. COVID-19 especially is what caught my attention and what impressed me the most, because everybody saw what their health ministers were doing during COVID-19. The entire world was watching the health ministers of every country during COVID-19 to see what their response would be, how they would manage the spread of the virus, how they would treat and help people who were already infected, how they would secure, how they would secure their country to prevent more cases from coming in, or cases that were already caught in the country from leaving and spreading to the rest of the world. Everybody was very, very conscious about that during that period. And I have said it on this channel many times that I was very, very impressed when you look at the economy of Barbados during that period, when you look at the financial decisions that were made, when you look at the health decisions that were made, the security decisions that were made, you know that the people who were in charge during COVID-19 in Barbados were not just playing it by ear. They were very, very skilled individuals, very intelligent and skilled individuals. And to now hear that he was a leader during that period, and as the Minister of Health and Wellness during that period, that is very, very impressive. And this is the president. Now, second person I want to talk about, and I think I'm just going to talk about two so that this video doesn't become like 1 year long. Because if I'm to go through every single person in parliament or in different roles, leadership positions in the country, this video will never end, because I'll just be telling you about how impressed I am about all of them. Now, Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley, SC Member of Parliament. And I'll get to that SC in a moment. If you start with her legal career, this woman is very impressive. Let me just say that this woman is very impressive. Then I will continue. If you start with her legal career, she started out as attorney at law and she was trained in the London School of Economics. For those of you who don't know the London School of Economics, it is one of the best universities in the world. It consistently ranks very high. If you look at the QS World Rankings of University, it's always there. It's always on the list in the top 100. And in the UK, it's one of the top, and I think it has actually been one of the top 10, if not top 3 in the United Kingdom. So it is a very, very good university. And then she became Barrister of Bar of England and Wales. She then became the youngest Queen's Counsel in Barbados in 2002. Now, for those of you who don't know, in Commonwealth countries like Barbados, if you are an accomplished attorney, you were traditionally appointed Queen's Counsel. Now that Barbados is no longer under the monarchy, this is called Senior Counsel. And the Senior Counsel indicates that you have been formally recognized as a senior, highly respected lawyer, right? But when Barbados was still under the monarchy, it was called Queen's Counsel. Okay? So she became the youngest Queen's Counsel in the whole of Barbados in 2002. This is when she was doing her legal career. Then her political career began in 1991. That was about 5 years after she became a lawyer. She served as an opposition senator. September 1994 was the first time that the Barbados Labour Party came into power while she was already a politician, while she had already begun her political career. So it was that time that she was elected as a member of parliament for the Barbados Labour Party. And then from 2001 to 2008, she served as Attorney General. She served as Even from 1994, I need to get this right. From 1994, when she was first elected as Member of Parliament for Barbados Labour Party, to 2008, she served as Minister of Education, Attorney General, Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Economic Affairs, and then in 2003, she was appointed as Deputy Prime Minister. This was as far back as 2003. Now, from 2008 to 2018, the Barbados Labour Party didn't win the election. So in those 2 terms, it was the Democratic Labour Party that won the election, those 2 terms, right? But in 2008, this was her first time as a leader of the opposition. She had already become leader of the opposition. 2013 again was her second time as leader of the opposition. By May 2018, that was the first time she became Prime Minister of Barbados. May 2018. And she didn't just become Prime Minister of Barbados. She became Prime Minister of Barbados with a 30-0 win. If you're not familiar with Barbados election, right? Barbados election system or structure, there are seats that you need to win. There are 30 seats. I'm going to oversimplify this and you can Google it and then get more details about it. But generally speaking, there are 30 seats and the party with the most seats makes up the government, generally speaking. So out of 30 seats, you expect that one party is going to win a certain number of seats, the other party will win a certain number of seats, they are going to count the total number of seats, and then the party with the most becomes the government. In this case, however, the Barbados Labour Party won 30 of the seats, 30 out of 30 seats, leaving 0 for the other party. 0 for the other parties. It was in 2018 that she became the first female prime minister of Barbados. And this is something I want to highlight when I talk about meritocratic democracy. Barbados is one of those countries that actually knows what female empowerment means. And when I say this knowing fully well that there are so many people who watch this video and maybe even go to the comments and be angry at me for saying this. But Barbados is one of the few countries on earth that actually knows what women empowerment actually means. When most people talk about women empowerment, this is what they mean. And I've had this conversation so many times with so many people, and many people get angry with me for saying this. But this is what they mean. They mean if there is a woman in a space and there are men in the space, women empowerment means you should take that woman and put her in a position of power to lead the men. The end. That is women empowerment. And that doesn't make any sense to me, because the idea that these people have when they talk about women empowerment is that they are ending sexism and they are removing sexism. But what they're doing is not ending sexism, they're just flipping sexism. You go from sexism against women to sexism against men. Because sexism is discrimination based on sex. So it doesn't matter whether it's female sex or male sex. If you're discriminating somebody based on the person's sex, that by definition is sexism. But many people don't think about that, because the most popular word on the internet when you're talking to feminists is misogynist, misogynistic. And so if you don't want to be called a misogynist, you have to just put women everywhere as leaders, even though they do not have the necessary experience or the necessary qualifications to be in that position. But the reason I'm saying that Barbados is one of the only countries, one of the few countries in the world that truly understands what female empowerment is that when Barbados sees that a woman can do the job, Barbados has no problem putting a woman to do the job. When Barbados sees that a man can do the job, Barbados has no problem putting a man to do the job. Barbados does not remove a man or does not preach that a man should be removed so that women can be empowered. Neither does Barbados preach that a woman should be removed because women can't do the job as well as men can do it. No, all of those archaic ideas and modern nonsensical ideologies about gender equality and female empowerment and all of that, Barbados doesn't practice any of that. Barbados simply does what is best for Barbados. The end. And I love this because the first president of Barbados was a woman. The second president of Barbados is a man. The first 8 prime ministers of Barbados were men. The current prime minister of Barbados is a woman, and she is currently on her 3rd term with 30-0 wins each term. She won 30-0 each term. Why? Because when Barbados sees somebody doing a good job, Barbados doesn't first ask, are you male or female? Are you a woman gender or a man gender? We want to elevate women. We want to bring down men, or we believe that men are superior to women, so we want to elevate men. Barbados doesn't have time for that. It doesn't have time for that. And that is one thing that is so beautiful about this country. I love it. Every time I see it, I love it. So while we are saying in 2018, she became the first female prime minister of Barbados, and that is such a great thing, I think that it is even a greater thing that Barbados was able to put a woman because they thought that a woman could do a better job. Not just because she was a woman. Because if it was just because she was a woman, in 2008, she was the leader of the opposition, BLP leader. She could have been put in just because she was a woman leader of the opposition. In 2013, she was also a leader of the opposition. She could have been put in again just because she was a woman. But Bajans didn't care. When Bajans thought that she could do a good job, they voted her in. And then when she did a good job, they voted her in again in 2022. And then when they thought that she was doing a very good job in 2018 and 2022, they voted her yet again in 2026. And so during that period of time, she wasn't just serving greatly in Barbados. She was doing so many other things. Like she served as chair of CARICOM from January to June 2020 and again in 2025. She co-chaired the Development Committee of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund from November 2020 to October 2021. That's about a year. She led the transition from constitutional monarchy to republic in 2021. It was this sitting prime minister that made Barbados to no longer be under UK, to no longer be a constitutional monarchy. And that is why a lot of, if you read a lot of documents before 2021, you see people who had this, accomplished attorneys, right? All these accomplished attorneys, you see them being called Queen's Counsel. But if you read documents after 2021, they are now referred to as Senior Counsel because the island is no longer under the Queen, right? So it was this same prime minister that did that. And this is just the things that she did as a political leader. We're not even talking about all the awards and recognitions that she's getting internationally. In the world, she has been named UN Champions of the Earth, part of the United Nations Champions of the Earth. She was named one of Time's 100 most influential people in 2022. The WHO Director General's Award for Global Health in 2024, she also got that. She also got the Zayed Award for Human Fraternity in 2025. So she is officially one of the most decorated small state leaders on the planet right now. GKA. This is objective excellence. This is not, oh, we like her because her name is Mia Motley, or we like her because she comes from this constituency, or we like her because she's a woman, or we like her because she is black, or we like her because she comes from this particular part of the world, or we like her. No, none of that. This is someone who put in the work, who is objectively excellent, and is doing great work in Barbados, in the region, and is being recognized for it globally. That is meritocratic democracy. Repeat after me. Meritocratic democracy. When somebody has merited something and the person is allowed to put their best foot forward for the good of the country progresses. If this person is hindered in the country, the person leaves the country. Another country benefits. Right? Another country benefits. And that is the problem. You see it a lot in so many African countries, right? And one very good example is is Nigeria. There are so many brilliant Nigerians. Almost anybody who studies international sports, medicine, law, business, politics, whatever, at least one exceptional Nigerian. At least one. But you also know that Nigerian is not doing the stuff that they're doing in their own country. Why? Why? Because the government does not create a good, conducive atmosphere for it. Because when people have the idea, when people have the expertise, when people have the experience, when people have the wherewithal, when people want to do stuff, they have to fight tooth and nail. They have to suffer. They are kidnapped. They are threatened. Their lives are in danger. So many things. Or they're not given the opportunity because some minister's son or some politician's nephew wants the opportunity instead of them. And so you find in politics, in many parts of the world, and not just Africa, in Southeast Asia, in South America, in North America, in the United States of America, you find so many people who don't have any experience or education in the things they are supposed to know and do. And yet, they are in power. Why? Either because of some nepotism, cronyism, or the average population is uneducated and incapable of making logical, right decisions for the country. And so the country is in this swinging position, swinging status. This year they are great. Next year things are going so horribly bad for the country. The next year things are improving again. The year after that is so bad for the country. And you keep seeing all of this to and fro. Some countries don't even have that luxury where they are swinging to and fro. They are just in steady decline year after year. But Barbados is such a blessed country. And I'm making this video partly selfishly. Let me be honest with you guys. I'm a little bit selfish as I'm making this video because I want more people to watch this so that they keep making good decisions for the island. Because right now I'm living in Barbados and I'm enjoying Barbados. And I want to keep enjoying Barbados. And I like it when I'm living in a country where things are just beautiful. And so in the future, you're not going to have the current leaders that you have, obviously. You're going to have new leaders and you're going to elect them a certain way. I'm making this video so that enough people will watch it and realize that when you're going to the polling booths to elect somebody, to choose somebody who is going to represent you, who is going to lead you, who is going to make long-lasting decisions for you, your family members, your friends, your country, and so on and so forth, that is a very serious decision. And you don't make it because you're a guy and the person is a guy and you think that guys are better leaders. Or you're a girl and the person is a girl and you think that female empowerment means you should always vote the girl. Or it's a friend of your father's uncle's nephew and so you think he's going to do a better job because you know him personally. And if I know a man personally, I could tell the character of a man because I know him. I know what he could do. No, you're supposed to vote based on the experience and the qualifications of a leader. experience and qualifications of a leader. Only a leader can lead a nation. A consumer, a follower, a corrupt individual, somebody who is just the product of cronyism and nepotism, these people cannot lead. And if you have a leader and you find out that someone is a better leader, you should be willing to vote the better leader. Why? Why? Because it doesn't matter how you feel, what you personally feel and your attachments. What matters is that you're doing the best for your country, because at the end of the day, you are going to be a product of your decisions. Right? If you vote for someone and that person wins, it doesn't just make you feel happy and that's the end of it. After you feel happy, you have to deal with the decisions and the consequences of the decisions. Okay? You don't just vote and run away. You vote and you live in the country for another 10 years. And you get to see your country be devalued. You get to see wars break out. You get to see food insecurity. You get to see corruption. You get to see lack of electricity. You get to see all this stuff. Agriculture is bad. The economy is bad. Everybody's scared. You don't know when the next armed robbery or assassination is going to happen. That's what you have to live with. Okay, this video is getting too long. Let me tell you, you could go through every single person and look at them. But before I go, I definitely have to mention these two people. The first president of Barbados, Her Excellency, this is when she was president, Her Excellency the Most Honorable Dame Sandra Prunella Mason, FBGCMGDASCLLD. These are all her accolades, her accomplishments. There's so many. These are just the ones that have post-nominals that she can add at the end of her name. There are so many other things that she has done. Look at the Senior Minister of Foreign Affairs, Senator Christopher Sinclair. That's another guy that caught my attention. This man is legendary. And I don't use the word legendary lightly. Google him, research him, ask ChatGPT about him. I don't know. Just find something about him and read it. And be impressed. Be very impressed. These are the people who are currently leading Barbados. And so when you open a graph in a business, because I remember during my master's degree, we had to do a project, and because I was living in Barbados, I had to research on Barbados and the economy of Barbados and stuff like that. When you open certain websites and certain data sites and all of that, and you see the numbers of Barbados, and you're like, wow, that's amazing. How is this country doing it? It's so small in the middle of nowhere, right? Because if you look at the globe, most countries in the Caribbean are not even visible on the globe. You have to zoom in to find them. That's how tiny they are compared to the other countries around them. So how is it doing all of this? And then you look at the policies, and then you look at the leaders, and then you look at the decision-making processes, and then you look at all of this stuff and you're like, oh, it just makes sense. Obviously, if you're this good in the little things, obviously the numbers are going to reflect what you're doing in the country. It's going to make sense. So maybe now that I've talked about this, unless there's some of you who want to learn more, but we're going to conclude this political aspect of the channel, and I will talk about more things that I'm learning in Barbados. But I just thought that it was very important for me to point this out because it's such an overlooked part of the development of a country, the betterment of a nation. People don't realize that 90% of the work is done when you pick the leader. Once you've picked the right leader, you've done 90% of the work because that leader knows what to do next. Anyway, one last thing before I go. I just opened the community, the Barbados Walker community. YouTube has a new feature. They said we can have a community and people can post in the community. So the community is open. You can go there and post. All you have to do is to click Barbados Walker, and then you're going to see the option for the community. You can post stuff. Please be civil and respectful. Don't start World War III in the community. Just post stuff. You can post stuff about Barbados. You can ask questions. You can talk to other people, make friends, post memes, post pictures of, if you see a beautiful sunset on the island or something. I don't know what these communities are used for, but I think our community is going to grow as people start posting. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. I forgot to say that you should subscribe. So please subscribe. Thank you.